What's up, everybody? We are back with another stage breakdown. This is stage 3 at Battle at the Beach. Stage 3 is called Lefty Friendly. This is it's a versus, but not really. It's just two different POVs that are pretty much combined together. If you're new here, we are a practical shooting group called NXG Training Group, and we do this weekly or every other day. We try to post content and give you guys stage breakdowns, give you guys some insider knowledge, give you guys some educational value about our shooting or how you can shoot better or shoot a stage better. Either way, I like to provide some educational value with these videos. As we always do, we're going to watch the video first and then we are going to break it down. I'm also joined by the guy that is usually behind the camera, Mark. He is also a USPSA shooter. His view is right here on the right, but let's watch it and then we'll break it down as usual. So that was the stage. This was our last stage of the day. Mind you, we're all very tired. It was very hot. We're all, well, me and Mark were sunburned. And it's just a lot of fatigue happens. This is where the fatigue starts to really set in. As you see, both shooters went about this stage vastly different. As you see in the video, and had pretty much identical times, hits, and hit factor, and percentage shot, which is kind of crazy. I don't think you'll ever see this again. This is extremely rare. And I do believe that they did shoot another stage almost identical, which both happened on the same day, which is kind of wild. But to start off, we will start off how they started. So right off the bat, Mark is faster to draw. He drew to, I would say, the wrong target first. BLuu drew to the inside target. That way he could pop the right side target and back out. Like I said, guys, if you're able to move and shoot and get to point B faster, that is going to be significantly faster and more helpful on your stage if the stage allows you to do it. So me, I also drew on this target as well, and I went here, and as BLuu was doing, or Brendan was doing, he was moving and shooting, where Mark, decided to shoot the outside target first and then transition to the inside target. Now, is that slower? Yes. It's not really beneficial at all to do it that way, whereas BLuu, like I said, drew inside and then started backing out on outside target. So as you see, so Brendan's already backing out, but because Mark was faster to draw his, he was actually faster to get first shot off and draw. So the time that Brendan spent drawing and acquiring his dot, Mark was actually almost like at the same pace. So as you see the same result, I think they start getting moving at the same time. Yeah, so as you see, Mark even beats him to sector 2, which is great for Mark, not so much for Brendan. If Brendan executed properly for the inside to outside, he probably would have beat Mark to the sector 2 window, which was paper, 2 steel, and paper, or no shoot paper, and both had misses, I think, on the front steel. Yeah. So if I was BLuu, honestly, what I would have done is right after I'm done shooting this sector, probably would have either won. I think you were able to take this. Yeah. So I would have shot this target immediately on the turnaround if I was able to do it. I don't remember. I don't have video of this stage for me personally, but it looks like you could have. So I think when I shot this stage originally, I reloaded after this array of targets or sector one or where we were starting pretty much. But I do think this stage was start anywhere in the shooting area. So I think everybody opted to start on this side anyway, except one person. I think one person actually started where everybody else finished. So right off the bat, like I said, going into sector two, I would have reloaded, and I do believe I remember I reloaded into this sector, so I have a fresh mag. That way you don't get caught like Brendan, where you miss steel, and now you have to reload stationary and then shoot your last target of the sector. But that also comes with your mental game, and that is the hardest part of this, is remembering what you have to do from your stage plan, if you stage plan properly. You know, we're out here in New York where we only get 10 rounds. So if he would have shot this array perfect with no misses, he would have had enough ammo to do so. So it would have been 2, 4, 6, 8, and then 2 steel makes 10. And then you have 1 in the tube for 11, because we're allowed to start with 10 plus 1. So had he not missed, he wouldn't have to stand here and make the reload. As with Mark's already moving on to the next array because he didn't miss. And, you know, Mark's reload right here, he's not botching the bottom. He's actually has the finger index going into the gun, which is great. So as you see, BLuu finishes up the target. Mark comes in to the sector hot. Now, they both did what they needed to do. Personally, I would have backed out of this target as well to the next array. I don't believe neither one of them did that. Let's see. Now, see, everybody just stood there. Probably would have backed out of that, shooting it on the move and coming into the next sector, even though it is like a stutter step, if you want to call it that. It's literally just one large step or 2 mini steps. Come in. The sector 2 is... So Brendan took the outside target and then came into the sector. Mark opted to take the sector 2, and then I think he followed up with the outside target. I call this momentum killer because there is one on every single stage that we shoot. It's just a LIPSA thing. I really don't understand why we have these stupid targets that are just big momentum killers. So Mark opted to shoot the sector 2 before he shot outside target. Brendan was outside target, then to sector 2 where the activator is. I do believe this is the steel activator right here, and this is a swinger, as you guys can see. So Mark made contact on steel, no misses, and then the swinger. Do you remember your hits on the swinger? Yeah, I mean, obviously they didn't shoot any deltas, so both of them either had 2 alphas on the swinger or Alpha Charlie or even 2 Charlies. But Brendan did catch up a little bit, opting for the speed. Mark was taking when you guys run into swingers or hidden targets or targets that pretty much disappear. It's very important to make sure you get your hits on the swinger, and I understand practicing for swingers is extremely hard unless you have a training range that allows you to do that. Most don't. We don't. So we don't get any practice on swingers. So it's always just like a shootout to make sure you get your hits. What would you say? Yeah, it's as he said, it's just live in the moment. I understand every time if you're new and you never shot a USPSA stage, every stage that has an activator, when you get there, they will show you or activate the steel before you even shoot the stage to show you what it's like. Some are very, very slow to activate. Some are very, very fast to activate. Some will continue to spinning. Some will disappear. Disappearing targets, you have to be quick with it because you don't get much time. And once they disappear, you either have a head box only or you get no box at all. So you have to shoot it as soon as you activate it. Whereas like swingers, you tend not to have to, like, so on this sector, if there was like another paper target right here, and then he shot steel, he probably could have shot paper and then go back to the swinger. The swinger is going to be slowest when it's on the 180 plane, and then fastest when it's at the 90. So for most people, you're going to want to either put your gun on one side or the other and wait for it, or sit in the middle and do it. If you sit in the middle and do it, physics, as you guys know, that is when it is spinning or moving the fastest. So you're going to have to be very quick with it. Lead your dot, you're probably going to have to put your dot in the middle. As soon as the target comes into your window, you're probably gonna have to pull the trigger. And by the time you pull the trigger, that quarter second time or a tenth of a second time that it takes, you will probably be the target will be at your center of your dot A zone. So swingers are hard. You really, if you could practice with them, practice with them. Like I said, we don't get any practice, but let's go back to their shooting. They both did the same exact thing, waited, and made sure they get their shots on. Mark took 4 shots on the swinger. So as you see, as soon as Mark was done with the swinger, he moved to the outside target, which Brendan had already shot prior to coming into the sector. As you see, both of these are very similar to, are identical in times, identical in hit factor, identical in hits. I mean, the hits don't have to be identical to have identical hit factors. They could vary differently. But I will say, as you see, they both shot differently, shot the stage differently, and had yielded the same result. So you don't have to follow the same exact stage plan as everybody else to have the same exact, even if they both came in first, they would both have different stage planning, have shot the stage differently, and yielded the same result. So you don't have to follow everybody's stage plan or shoot the same way as everybody else. So last sector, Mark comes in, botches reload because that's what Mark does. As you see, he's got no index on the front of the mag. This time he took his finger off the trigger. Great, awesome, love to see that. But botch reload, grabbing by the base of the magazine. When you guys reload, you guys should be dry firing with your finger indexed on the front face of the mag. That way you can guide the magazine in properly and fast and not get hung up. Those of you that had big ass flares and magwells, great. It does help ever so slightly. I know these Icarus grips, the angle of insertion is way steeper than the OEM Zev grip. You cannot get away with the same level of error to get the magazine into the gun. You actually have to be more precise and less error. So, you know, the metal grip is not going to have the same feel or same leeway as a plastic grip with a big ass mouth on the bottom. So either way, go back to the stage. Mark opts to reload, which I think he should have by the time. I think it was like 2, 4, and then he took the outside, so he's 6. Reloads clean. Supposed to do that. Comes in, pops. So this is a hardcover. Hardcover, this is like a half tuxedo, but the black represents hardcover. And if you shoot black, it's a mic. You can make up the shots on hardcover targets, which I highly recommend you do if you know you have shot it. Unless you can't see it, then just move on. But make it up if you could do it in a timely fashion. Don't take 3 seconds to make up 1 alpha. You're going to lose time and you're going to lose hit factor. So he took 3 shots. No idea why. Why'd you take 3 shots? So let's pretend that he did take the delta, guys. So if you're new to the sport and let's say you have a hardcover that's like visually, like I understand on camera you can't see it because obviously the optical quality is not going to be there, but visually your eyes, if your eyes are good enough, you could actually see where you're shooting. And it had Mark did see that he did shoot a delta and he's like, fuck. He didn't spend a lot of time making up the shot. Now, did he spend time making up the shot? Yeah, he probably spent a third of a second making up the shot. So he's spending a third of a second more than he has to in the position, not moving to where you want to finish. So he is taking a third of a second, but he did make it up. So let's say he said double alpha. It's better than alpha delta in a third of a second. Now, is that third of a second going to smoke you in hit factor? Probably not on these longer stages. He probably could have got away with a slightly higher hit factor being faster, but then again, you want all the points you could possibly get on these longer stages. So Mark did the right thing, spent a little bit more time getting all the points he possibly could. On a short stage, I wouldn't have shot 3 shots here. And that comes with time in USPSA and understanding that as a new shooter, you're not going to know that. You're going to have no idea how any of this stuff works. You're going to want to go out there, and I highly recommend that you go out there and you shoot just to really understand like what a stage is like. Don't worry about anything else until you really start to want to compete in the sport or really want to get into the sport. If you're going out there for your first time, just go out there, get familiar with what a stage is like. The pressure is what you need to do. I always tell people, don't start working on things that you don't need to work on until you go shoot a stage or shoot a match. Go shoot a match, You'll see your weaknesses and you'll see your strengths, and then you can just work on what you need to work on after that. Would you actually agree with that? It is very. Yeah. Our first matches, we did this for like 2 years or a year and a half prior and really working on our stuff. And don't get me wrong, we didn't like shoot horrible for our first time, but I will say I had 10 mics my first match. 10 mics uh, that came from a bunch of forgotten targets. It's not that I didn't fail to shoot them, I just forgot to shoot them. And I shot 48%, which is horrible. So, yeah, marksmanship has very little to do with actual shooting a stage, guys. So, if you're at the indoor range and you're just pounding the center of a target out and you think that you can come compete at an extremely high level, you're not going to compete at an extremely high level. I got news for you because that is a very, very small portion of actually shooting well. But we'll continue the stage. So Brendan, after spending all that time, actually engages these two steel poppers before Mark. But I don't think he reloaded in this one. He he did because he doesn't have any misses or procedurals.
What?
Yeah, so he went back and shot it. I don't know why he did that. I guess he forgot to do it. But that's part of the mental game, guys. Like in his stage plan, I know for a fact that he shot that before he engaged steel and he just forgot. And that's just fatigue. That's just mental fatigue. This is the last stage of the day. We are tired, we are hot, we're sunburned, and we want to, kind of not do this anymore. As much as we love doing this, it gets exhausting. Especially when you're standing on sand for, I don't know, 8 hours, 6 hours. Yeah. Your legs start to get tired and your mental game's shot. But I will say that is a big no-no, but this is good. So as you see right here on camera, so he shot 2 alpha, hole 1, hole 2, very close, but he did bring his dot. So he did look in the right spot. He looked dead center target, put the gun there, pulled the trigger, very good. He had a Charlie right there, and he had an Alpha, or was it 2 Charlie, Brendan had? So he finished off Alpha Charlie, which at targets this close, guys, you guys shouldn't be Charlieing. You guys should just be really honestly just looking at the dead center of the target. And this comes with time and vision and training your vision. Look there, throw the gun there, and pop 2. This is not even something that has to be like, this is not even a reactionary target. So your dot confirmation is extremely low there. So just putting your dot on the paper and pulling the trigger twice, like honestly, this is what, 3 yards? How far away do you think that target was? 6 feet? Yeah, so you should just be throwing your dot onto that center of the target like Mark did. Mark did it the right way. And just pulling the trigger. And it should be quick. Like honestly, you shouldn't have half-second splits here. I get it. If this is your first time shooting the match, if this was your first match, and this is your last stage, I was more conscious my first time shooting not to shoot mics and no or hardcover mics and no shoots than I am now. Now that I've done this a significant amount of times and I'm way more confident with my shooting abilities now and my match percentages and my match performance says that I'm throwing my gun here and popping 2 compares when I first started shooting or when we first started shooting. I'm going to assume you probably even did it too, where you were more conscious of making sure that you didn't shoot the black or the no shoot. As a beginner, yeah, you're going to want to definitely over confirm. But anyways, so they go off to finish the stage, and that is their whole entire stage. And as you see, they both shot differently, and the results are the same. Literally the same exact. I mean, Mark shot a slightly higher percentage because he was ever so slightly faster by 5,500ths of a second, which is absolutely crazy. And he has him by 1/100th of a hit factor. So, I mean, realistically, they're both identical if you ask me, but you'll probably never see this again ever. You'll never see them shoot identical matches. And as you can see, he did the same thing. He did what he needed to do right here because there's 2 alphas in the box. I'm assuming Mark had 2 alphas on the bottom target as well. But for only shooting 3 Charlies, that's pretty good. As a matter of fact, I could tell you what my last stage was. I actually think I had a delta on this stage, but I was significantly faster. Let's see. This is stage 3. So I shot 67.28%. I had 21 alphas, 5 Charlies, no deltas, but I also finished the stage in 26:05. Giancarlo had 24 alphas, 2 Charlies, and shot 70.86%. He was also 2 seconds slower than me. So he shot at a higher percentage and but I had a higher hit factor. I will say that. I have no idea how, but I did. I had a 4.60 and Giancarlo had a 4.50. He shot 96% of available points. Mark shot 95% available points. Brendan shot 95% of the available points. I shot 92% of the available points, which is within the limits of what you guys should be shooting. Ballistically, you guys should be aiming for 15%, 10% of available points on a stage, and you should be okay. There's no reason why you can't shoot. If you're shooting below 85% and your time is decent, but you have Mike, or deltas, and you have problems. But yeah, 26:05 was my time on this. Giancarlo was 27:95. But either way, both Brendan and Mark probably could have shot this stage faster if they stuck to their stage plan. Mark probably could have got. I think Mark left probably about a good 2 seconds, 3 seconds of time out there from just movement and shooting, and then Brendan left time out there just from mental errors. But that's all for stage 3. I'm going to give you guys stage 4. I'll be right back.